This lesson is going to cover exporting or saving the toolpaths that were created to cut the pockets and artwork associated with our clock project. At this point, we want to confirm that all of our information is correct because we're going to take those files to the ShopBot and begin routing out our project. So it's really important that we double check all of the information to confirm that this is going to work correctly. I'm going to start right over here with the job dimensions and origin to make sure that we set up our job properly. So I'm going to call this up, and you'll notice that the width of our clock is 10 inches. That's correct. The height is 5.5 and the thickness is 3/4. This is very important. The XY datum position, the default is right here. The Z0 is here, and those must be in that position in order for the toolpaths to make sense. We didn't change any of these, so those should all be correct. I'm going to close out this drawing tab and focus now on the toolpaths that we created. This project has 3 different toolpaths and 2 different bits. I'm going to start in with the clock pocket bit, and we're going to confirm that that is correct. The first thing I want to do is turn it on. If yours is not turned on, you can turn it on by checking in this little box, and it will show you the path on your artwork, and it should be inside of your circle. If your path is not concentric or inside the circle that represents the pocket, then chances are you've moved that in the layout process, and you're going to need to recalculate that toolpath. The other thing I want to do is confirm that this pocket is the right diameter. So while I have that selected, I'm going to go back to my drawing tab for a moment and select the circle and see that it is still set on 3 inches. So we're good to go there. When I double click on this clock pocket, it's going to call up the parameters associated with this toolpath. First off, do we have the right bit? We're using a 1/2 inch diameter tool bit, and we're cutting to a depth of 0.625, which is 5/8 of an inch. This is very important. If you don't cut this the correct depth, your clock may not fit, or you may cut all the way through your board. So make sure this is set at 0.625. The other thing is we want to make sure that the feeds and speeds have not been changed for the tool. So I'm going to click here, and we have the 1/2 inch end mill. Yours may be set on a pass depth of a 1/2 inch. That's too much, so you want to reset this to 0.25, and your spindle speed should be 12,000 RPMs, and your feed rate should be 3 inches per second. And I'm going to hit apply and hit OK. The name of this toolpath for your clock should say 0.5 bit because that's the size of the bit that we're using, and clock project. I'm going to hit calculate one more time just to make sure that everything is correct. And I'm going to preview that toolpath. And that looks good. Go back to the drawing layout tab, and let's take a look at the VCarve text. So this is, again, if I select this box, it'll show me where the tool is going to travel, and it does line up with my text, so that's good. I'm going to double click, confirm that I have the right information here. 60-degree bit, haven't made any changes, 12,000 RPMs, 3 inches per second. That looks good. We are not adding a start depth or a flat depth. This is going to determine the depth by the width of our stroke and our artwork. And notice that my name matches the bit that I'm using. It's important. Just because I type it in here doesn't mean it's going to change this bit. So I'm confirming that this is a 60-degree bit, and that's what I'm calling it down here, and I'm associating it with my text. I'm going to hit calculate one more time just to make sure that everything is correct, and I'm going to preview that toolpath. Take a look, and that looks correct. Close that out, and let's take a look at our boat toolpath. Go back to the artwork. Close that for a second. I want to turn it on so I can confirm that the toolpath does line up with the artwork. We've spent some time moving our artwork around and resizing it. We want to make sure that it matches. If it doesn't, all we need to do is recalculate, and it will, as long as it's selected, it will put the toolpath in the new location. Double click again and confirm that the tool is the right tool. And the depths are correct and the name is correct. I'm going to hit calculate one more time. It's ignoring these separate, and let's preview that selected toolpath, and all looks good. If we wanted to, we could reset our preview one more time and preview all toolpaths to confirm that we don't have any extra toolpaths associated with this project. And looks like everything is good to go. The next step is going to be actually exporting or saving these toolpaths. These toolpaths are independent of the project. So the first thing I'm going to do is save the project, and I've already done this before. Now I'm going to actually save these toolpaths. With the ShopBot router, we do not have a tool changer, so we can only save, or we should only save, toolpaths that are of the same bit. So we're going to need, in this case, to create two different toolpaths, or two different save toolpaths, one for the 0.5 clock pocket and one for these two, which represents our 60-degree bit. So I'm going to click on the clock pocket and make sure that that's the active toolpath for the moment, and then I'm going to hit save. So notice that it says output all visible toolpaths to one file. The only one that's visible is the one that I clicked down here, and it's telling me which bit is being used and where that's what the name of that is. I'm going to save this to a file. I've created a folder on the student share for all the students to put their files into. If we go to student share and we go to LOLHS and go to Dairy, there is a clock projects folder. Now this toolpath is a 0.5 pocket, so I'm going to save it in that folder, but I'm going to put my last name, first initial in front of it so that I know that this is my toolpath versus somebody else's. So it says Dairy W 0.5 pocket, and I'm good to go. Whoops, let me just make sure. Didn't save that in the right spot. I forgot to hit there. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to close that out, select these two now, and go to save. And notice that only the two selected toolpaths are showing up. They both have the same bit, which is important. I'm going to save this toolpath, go up one level, and go to the 60-degree. And this one is going to be 60-degree. Oops, I'm going to say last name, first initial. Okay, I hit save, close, and I'm good to go. We now need to take those files on a flash drive over to the ShopBot, and we can begin cutting out our clock project. That's it.